Hello and welcome to our info video about a breathable tomorrow, empowering change for air. The oxygen cycle is a crucial biogeochemical cycle that supports life on Earth, as oxygen is essential for respiration and the survival of many organisms. The cycle involves the involvement of oxygen atoms through the atmosphere, lithosphere, biosphere, and hydrosphere.
The primary source of oxygen comes from photosynthesis, where green plants, algae, and cyanobacteria convert carbon dioxide and water into oxygen and glucose using sunlight. Through this process, oxygen is then released into the atmosphere. In addition, oxygen is consumed through various processes, including respiration, combustion, and decomposition. Ecological reservoirs include the atmosphere, the biosphere, and the hydrosphere.
The oxygen cycle is steadily maintained by photosynthesis, respiration, combustion, and decomposition. Plants, algae, and cyanobacteria continuously produce oxygen through photosynthesis as long as they have access to sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide. Also, animals and other organisms consume oxygen during respiration, converting it back to carbon dioxide, which is used in photosynthesis by plants.
When organic matter or fossil fuels are combusted, oxygen is consumed in the process, but it is eventually returned to the atmosphere through the respiration of organisms or other natural processes. As organic matter decomposes, oxygen is used by microorganisms during the process, and carbon dioxide is released. This carbon dioxide can be taken up again by plants during photosynthesis.
Le Chatelier's principle states that when a system at equilibrium is subjected to stress, it will shift to alleviate that stress and restore balance. In the context of the balance between filtered and breathable air and plants and trees, the relationship is crucial as plants and trees act as filters by absorbing carbon dioxide and producing oxygen. Removing plants and trees would disrupt this equilibrium, resulting in unfiltered and unbreathable air.
Humans are also part of this delicate scale, but they are compared to plants and trees. As humans cut down trees and degrade landscapes, the abundance of green life decreases, impacting the filtration process. This disturbance follows the principles of the oxygen cycle, where respiration and photosynthesis maintain an equilibrium. Respiration from animals, including humans, consumes oxygen and releases carbon dioxide, tilting the balance towards more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. However, photosynthesis from plants and trees counteracts this by converting excess carbon dioxide back into oxygen, ensuring the cycle remains in equilibrium. Nevertheless, the increasing demand for natural resources due to population growth poses a threat to this delicate balance. The continual depletion of trees and plants, such as for wood, disrupts the oxygen cycle, leading to severe consequences for the atmosphere. It is vital, therefore, to carefully maintain and conserve natural resources to preserve the delicate balance of this cycle, which ultimately affects our health and well-being.
Airborne invasive species are organisms such as plants, insects, and pathogens that can disperse and establish themselves in new ecosystems through the air. They may hitch a ride on wind currents, bird migrations, or human-assisted transportation, bringing about unintended and often harmful consequences. The spread of airborne invasive species can occur through various means. Wind plays a significant role carrying seeds and spores over long distances. Invasive species are not just a concern for ecosystem, they can also affect human health. Airborne pathogens like fungal spores or pollen from invasive plants can trigger allergies, asthma, and other respiratory issues. Epigenetic modifications could potentially influence organisms involved in this process and consequently affect the overall oxygen cycle.
Here are some ways in which epigenetics might impact the ecological environment related to the oxygen cycle. The first one would be plant adaptation to changing oxygen levels. Epigenetic changes can influence how plants respond to changes in oxygen availability. For example, under conditions of low oxygen or hypoxia, certain genes in plants might be epigenetically regulated to facilitate their adaptation and survival. The second one would be microbial activity. Epigenetic mechanisms can affect microbial communities' composition and activity in the soil, which in turn can influence the breakdown of organic matter and nutrient cycling. Since microbial activity plays a crucial role in the oxygen cycle, epigenetic changes could indirectly impact atmospheric oxygen levels.
Gene regulation in photosynthetic organisms. Photosynthesis is a vital process that influences oxygen production in the atmosphere. Epigenetic modifications might affect the regulation of genes involved in photosynthesis, potentially altering the rate at which oxygen is released during this process. Epigenetic inheritance. While most epigenetic modifications are considered to be reset during reproduction, some evidence suggests that certain epigenetic marks can be inherited across generations. If epigenetic changes in response to environmental factors are inheritable, they could impact the adaptive responses of organisms to changing oxygen levels over time.
That concludes our info video that is meant to raise awareness about the negative anthropogenic effects toward our environment by air oxygen cycle.
Thank you
Thank
for
you
Thank
for
listening.
you
Thank you
for
for
listening.
listening.